Hey everyone, it's Will here again. Today we are going to be talking about how I saved $100,000 by the age of 24 in my early 20s and how you can do it too by following these simple steps that I've done myself. But before we get started today, I want to do a quick explanation on why it was so important for me to hit that six-figure mark, that $100,000 mark, especially if you have that $100,000 invested. So let's just do a quick breakdown right now. Just think that you have $100,000 saved, and let's say the stock market does 10% in that 1 year, you've made $10,000 versus somebody who has $1,000 invested, they've only made $100. So once you hit that $100,000 mark, it is super hard to get there, but once you do hit it, the snowball starts rolling and things starts to accumulate at a way faster rate. So it was always my goal to hit $100,000 early and to have that invested and to save as quick as possible to get to the point where I could become financially independent down the road. So let's start off by saying the first step, which I've talked about in my first video about finances, is to get out of debt. So to reach that savings rate of $100,000, you have to get out of debt. There is no other option. If you're paying high interest rate, especially to credit card companies, to line of credits, to student loans, it is super hard for you to continue to grow your net worth and to grow that savings rate if you are giving away your hard-earned money to companies loaning out money to you. So make sure you get rid of that debt. The moment you get out of debt, then it's time for you to start piling up that money so you can become successful down the road. So number two, one thing that I did was when I graduated from university, the thing that I started doing was living with roommates. That helped me big time. I had 2 roommates living with me at one time, and it helped with utility costs, helped with lower rent, it helped with shared groceries depending on how you live with each other. So all these things add up to a lower cost and in terms increases your saving rate to a higher level. If you're in your early 20s and you're single or you're not married yet, now is the time to live with roommates. Yes, it's awesome living by yourself for a few years to experience how you can live by yourself, but by sacrificing a few months or few years of living with people, good friends, good influence people that around you, you can really learn from each other and really grow your savings rate and increase that savings number month to month, day to day, year to year. Number 3 is to work hard. So I'm not gonna lie, I was fortunate enough to graduate at 21 and start working right away and finding my career job as a law enforcement officer. I was also fortunate enough to be offered plenty of overtime opportunities, so I picked up a lot of overtime shifts. I work as much as possible. I knew I was young, but I had a goal set. So if you want to save $100,000, work hard, whether if you can't do overtime opportunities. So if you can pick up a side hustle, pick up an overtime opportunity, whether that be delivering Uber, driving pizza deliveries, or picking up another job, starting a YouTube channel. There are multiple ways for you to start a side hustle, and it's just out there, but you have to work for it. So, and if you do have the opportunity to work overtime at your current job, then just pick up some overtime shifts and work that. And all these things will start to add up, and then you'll start to see the numbers grow as your savings numbers continue to pile up. I feel like sometimes a lot of people in our 20s always complain about how hard life is. And let's be honest, the majority of us in North America or in first world countries, we have it pretty good. Yes, some of us graduated with student loans, some of us were unfortunate and grew up in tougher households, but we are young and now is the time to work. So get off the couch and go find a job. And if you already have a job, then maybe go get another job. And this way, if you can increase your income right now, down the road, your investments will start working for you if you can get to that bigger number. Number 4, I think you guys are already doing this by watching this video. It is to learn about finances. So it is very common for people to stay away and deter from things that they don't know about. For example, I don't watch baseball, so I don't research it. But if I learn more about it, I will be more interested in it. Same thing with finances. If you don't understand finances, human nature, we tend to divert away from things that we don't understand, but the more you learn, the more you want to understand it. So by learning about finances, learning about debt, learning about investing, learning about the stock market, learning about real estate, the more you learn, the more you want to get into it. So my encouragement is that in your early 20s, start learning about investments. There's lots of resources on YouTube, lots of resources on Google, all over the web, and you can find resources and just start learning, whether that be books, podcasts, audiobooks. It doesn't matter, just start learning about finances. Do not wait till later on in life to learn about something so important. I always tell people that people work hard for their money, but they don't learn how to make their money work for them. So take this opportunity in your early 20s and learn about finances. And I guarantee you that will help you get to $100,000 of savings rate before you're 30 if you focus and learn about finances and how it works. Number 5, this is super hard for a lot of people, and this word is also really hard for some people to say, but it is learning to say no. So learning to say no to certain opportunities. You don't have to say yes to everything that everyone asks you to do. If someone is asking you to sign up for X amount of credit cards, you can say no. If your friend is going to an extravagant wedding and you have to spend $3,000-$4,000 just to go overseas, maybe it doesn't come in your budget. Maybe you can't afford that right now, and it is okay to say no. Yes, we want to experience life. We're in our 20s. Now is the time to enjoy life. But at the same time, you also don't want to sacrifice your entire financial future just saying yes to everyone, because at the end of the day, you are you and you have to do what is best for you, and you can't satisfy everyone around you. So learning to say no is so important. I found that early on, that learning to say no to certain people or to certain situations, overall in the grand scheme of things, you aren't missing out if you are still doing the majority of things that you enjoy and still going to things. That's another thing. A lot of things that we do in our 20s don't have to be very expensive. You can go out with friends, you can go to the park, you can go for a walk. You don't necessarily have to eat out every time. You can have potlucks, people can bring food over, and you can share food that way. You don't always have to eat out at the most expensive restaurant. You don't always have to do the most expensive things. So learning to say no and understanding your budget and how much you can spend really helps with that savings rate and continuing to go towards that $100,000 mark. Number 6, this could be pretty obvious, but start saving. So yes, people do not focus on savings. People get paid, and a lot of times that money just goes out the window. So I was very intentional. Within 3 years of working, I actually doubled my salary, but my spending stayed relatively the same. And the whole time I was putting that same amount of money into my savings account, and I was increasing that savings rate at a higher percentage. So I also encourage you guys out there who want to hit that $100,000 mark to track your saving percentage. So if every month you're tracking how much money you're saving, track also the percentage, because the amount of money you bring in, the more money you bring in, you might be spending more. But if you're focusing on that percentage, you could be saving more down the road. So for example, if you made $10,000 a month, just a nice round number, and you're saving 50% of that money, you're saving $5,000. But if you're bringing $20,000 a month, if you can still save 50% of your money, now you're saving $10,000. So instead of thinking, oh, I just want to save $5,000, you're focusing on that number instead of focusing on the percentage. So the more money you bring in, your percentage should go higher. This way, it will definitely help you get to that $100,000 mark. Just an example, last year, now that I'm married, my wife and I were able to save almost 70% of our income because we've increased our income, but our expenses have stayed relatively the same. This way it has helped us increase our savings rate even more. And in fact, last year alone, we increased our net worth by over $100,000 alone. Whereas it took me 3 years to get to that $100,000 mark from 21 to 24. But last year alone, we made over $100,000 thanks to our high savings rate as well as our investment growth. Number 7, this one I say to so many friends and families, it's buy used vehicles. You do not need a brand new vehicle, especially in your 20s. There's no point buying a brand new Tesla or a brand new Nissan, brand new Toyota. You could buy a used vehicle that works just as well. To me, a vehicle is just a tool to get you from point A to point B. And if it runs and it works, great. And I mean, if you're hesitant about buying a 2002 vehicle, maybe you can buy a 2012 vehicle or a 2015 vehicle, something that's already taken the depreciation out, but you're buying the vehicle at a very discounted value. So do not buy brand new vehicles. Also, another thing is the moment you walk into the dealership and you come out, the moment you hear that boom boom, the speed bump sound, that's the most expensive sound that you can hear. You've lost $5,000 right there by buying a brand new vehicle. If you walk back to the dealership the next day and try to sell the vehicle for the same price that they sold it to you, there is no way they're taking it back. So avoid brand new vehicles until down the road, until you're financially independent or in a better situation, because in your 20s, now is not the time to buy a brand new vehicle. And better yet, if you have transportation in the city that you live in or in the place that you live in, if you can bike to work or if you can walk to work or take the bus or take transit somehow, do that instead. Vehicles are not just the purchase price. You have to think about the insurance, the taxes, the maintenance, oil changes, all that has to come into the total cost of the vehicle. So owning a vehicle is not cheap. So by getting rid of the vehicle or driving a used vehicle, you're saving a lot more on the other part. So just think about that next time you decide to purchase a vehicle. And number 8, last but not least, invest your money. Yes, you heard it correct. I talked about it earlier. Investing, S&P 500, stock market, total US index, it usually brings in, let's say, 7 to 10% average annually. So by investing even a little bit early on in your 20s, it'll start to compound and you'll hit that $100,000 mark. So you're not just saving from your job salary, but you're also saving from the income that you're making from the investment. So start investing early. The earlier you start investing, the earlier compound interest starts to take over. So it is possible to hit that $100,000 mark in your 20s, whether in your early 20s, whether in your later 20s, but get to that 6-figure mark. Because like I said earlier in the video, that $100,000 invested 10% annually, you're making $10,000 a year. You guys can do it. I know it took some sacrifices for me personally to hit that $100,000 mark by myself at age 24, but I know that with dedication, with hard work and determination, you guys can also hit that 6-figure mark. So keep going, keep investing, guys. And if you guys like this video, please leave a comment and subscribe. And I would love to keep pushing out these financial videos. I've had a lot of fun making them. And thanks a lot for watching, guys. Until next time, peace.